So the Los Angeles Chargers have a game this Thursday. It's the Hall of Fame game. I get that. The majority of starters are not going to play. But you guys should absolutely be paying attention because Amarian Hampton is going to play. So is Trey Harris. So is Keandre Limber-Smith. And probably most importantly, we get to see Zion Johnson, who last practice, not this morning, but the practice before that, was actually on the second team playing center. He's competing right now with Bradley Bozeman, and he's also competing with Jamari Sawyer. The offensive line, to me, is going to make or break the season. Mekhi Becton can't do everything. You can't just insert him at right guard and expect everything to be okay. Not exactly how it works. So that's something we're going to be paying attention to on Thursday and moving forward. But it's also going to be about these young receivers. Mike Williams retired. Last year, there was nobody outside of Ladd McConkey. Sure, Quentin Johnson had a career year in terms of catching touchdowns, but he also dealt with drops. I don't think he's separated very well, and there's a lot of pressure on him because Ladd McConkey looks like a future stud. Like, I don't want to call him a future Hall of Famer because that would be a little bit premature, but I think we can all agree he's one of the best young receivers in football, and last season he was absolutely special. He torched the Texans in the wild card game, but his ceiling is dependent on the amount of help he gets outside, because if teams are worried about who's running deep, well, that is going to allow McConkey, of course, underneath to go to work. And I love what the Chargers did. They go out there and they get Trey Harris. They go out there, of course, and they also get Keandre Limber-Smith. Not to mention they've been playing Darius Davis more, who I've been just imploring them to do so. I just think the skill positions are going to be fantastic. And even though my guy, Oronde Gadsden, had a tough drop, he's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. He's not going to be perfect. I can't wait to see the certain packages that the Chargers use him in. Same with Tyler Conklin. Will Disley had a career year receiving, so it's going to be a lot of fun. But in terms of what you guys need to know leading up to the game, because the Chargers are not going to practice on Wednesday, which means that we're not going to see some of these veterans until Saturday, which is pretty crazy to think about. So let's dive into it, man. So in terms of the starting quarterback, it is going to be Trey Lance. He's going to play the entire first half. He's going to play a drive into the third quarter, and then he's going to pass it on, of course, to this is going to be my first attempt. I'm not going to edit this out just because, if anything, it will give you guys a good laugh. Let's see if I can say it first try. DJ, it's not happening. DJ Uiagalelei? How close is I? I'm going to give myself like a decent shot. I thought it'd be worse than that. But yeah, he's going to play the rest of the second half, which is pretty interesting because he was a top college prospect at one time. It goes to show that if you enter the transfer portal, it can make or break you. That's kind of what happened to him. Outside of them, though, a lot of guys are not going to play. Obviously, Justin Herbert's not playing. Quentin Johnson's not going to play. McConkey's not playing. Slater, Becton, James, Mack, Perryman, Henley, Still, Jackson, St. Juice, Gilman, Tart, and Moulton. Those are all the guys that are not going to play, and that's just that Jim Harbaugh named. But the rookies we mentioned will. Zion will also play. Trey Lance, can be good to see him go out there. I mean, I know he's been kind of around for a few years, and we know who he is to this point. But, I mean, for a third-string quarterback, I mean, it doesn't really get much better than having Trey Lance. He was a former top pick in the draft. Rashawn Slater was back in team drills on Tuesday after returning to individual drills on Monday. For those of you that haven't really been following the news and the press conferences, he was dealing with, what would you want to call it, like a blister on his right foot. And he had to sit out of a couple of practices because he was just managing that. But he's been out there recently, and it's good to see him. Tuesday's practice, Slater was at left tackle, Johnson was at left guard, Bozeman at center, Jamari Sawyer was at right guard, Joe Alt was at right tackle. The reason is because Mekhi Becton did not practice. We also did get to see, though, however, Johnson get reps with the second team at center. So clearly the Chargers are trying to ramp him up at the position, and everyone's going to talk about, oh, well, Thursday doesn't matter. It actually does, because we get to see the young rookie receivers, and we get to see Zion play center in an actual game, yet alone a padded practice. So you should be paying attention. Like, these things do matter. And even if they don't to you, it's football. Like, we're getting closer to actual NFL football. I cannot wait, man. We're going to be posting every single day, covering the Chargers for you guys. It's going to be so much fun. Elijah Molden did return. He had missed the entire camp. And the reason for that is because they were trying to ramp him up slowly. You got to keep in mind that if you play in the Hall of Fame game, you have to start training camp earlier than everyone else. So that's why it took him longer, like 10 practices or whatever. McConkey didn't practice today. Cam Hart didn't practice. Justin also didn't practice. Looking at Rager, didn't practice. Who else is on the list? Luke Graham. Safety Jalen Jones. Tight end McCullen Castles to round that off. McConkey is dealing with a minor injury, the Chargers are calling it. Still did participate in individual drills, but not in team drills. He still has not practiced fully since Thursday. The Chargers have dealt with a bit of a revolving door at corner so far in camp. St. Juice has not been in team drill since day 5. Dante Jackson missed day 6 and left early on day 9. Still has been out of team drills for 4 practices, and Hart missed the first practice today. As a result, the competition in this group still feels pretty unsettled. Desir Taylor and Jackson were outside corner when James was in the nickel, Tuesday's practice. Jackson did have a couple of pass breakups, and I mentioned him a couple of videos ago saying to keep an eye on him because he's got a lot of talent. And he's played DB for a while. He is a veteran at the end of the day. And the Chargers are starting 2 second-year players at this point at outside corner. So keep an eye on Dante Jackson. I like him a lot. I always have, man. He's very, very athletic. But that's pretty much it just for the practice notes. But it's just going to be cool to go and to look at Thursday's game and to watch football and to download the film and to look at it a couple of times. I mean, football is just such a unique sport because you watch your team go throughout the entire camp. You watch them go throughout, of course, the entire offseason, figuring out what their strengths are and what their weaknesses, and then to go out there and to see them put in that hard work and to see it finally on display. And, of course, the Chargers, they haven't exactly done a lot of winning in my lifetime, too. And just year after year, I'm just waiting for it to happen. And they're getting so close. Like, you look at Jim Harbaugh. When he was with the 49ers, he took over like a 7-win team, and then they go to the NFC Championship. They go to the Super Bowl. Takes over the Chargers, who are a disappointment. They end up winning, of course, 11 games. And now the question is, can they make a run at the division in the AFC? It's a very loaded AFC. It's going to take a lot of work, but the Chargers have been putting it in, and they're going to show it off this Thursday. So I am excited to see the game. It's against the Lions. Should be a fun one. Look at the Texans and the Bears. It was the last Hall of Fame game. I think that was kind of disappointing. Everyone was excited for Caleb Williams, and he didn't end up playing. But for the Chargers, it's going to be a lot about just these younger players. Zion's still young. I mean, he's in his 20s. So he's a player. He was drafted a couple of years ago to play guard, and now he's at center, and he's sort of moving around the line. So I can't wait to see how he looks. I really do like Dante Jackson. He's just such a good athlete. He can make plays on the ball. I know right now he's not projected to start. I'm not saying he will, but I think he's going to make it a lot closer than people think. Like, Dante Jackson is a very, very good corner. Glad the Chargers brought him in. And 11-on-11 later, Igbania had a quick pressure on guard Jamari Sawyer that forced a throwaway from Heineke. Igbania is entering his 3rd season with the Chargers, second, of course, under Minner and Harbaugh guys.